Breaking overnight, we know at least 2 military members were hurt by lightning in D.C. They were out helping with protesters overnight. Authorities say they suffered non-life-threatening injuries. The lightning also struck the Washington Monument.
But first at 6, a scary scene on Clearwater Beach this holiday weekend. 2 men rushed to the hospital today after a lightning strike. Good evening. I'm Isabel Rosales. Thank you for joining us. ABC Action News reporter McKenna King joins us live near where it happened. And McKenna, first off, how are those men doing?
Well, Isabel, a 37-year-old man is in critical condition and a 43-year-old man is in stable condition after that lightning strike here on the north end of Clearwater Beach. Clearwater Fire tells us the men they're not related, but they were walking about 8 to 10 feet apart from one another here on the north end of the beach when that lightning strike hit. The call came in around 2:15 this afternoon. An officer with the Clearwater Police Department was nearby when the lightning struck. They rushed to the beach and immediately started doing CPR on the 37-year-old man who was unconscious and not breathing. Lifeguards with the city of Clearwater were able to take over medical treatment until Clearwater Fire Rescue crews got to the beach and took the man to the hospital in critical condition. Clearwater Fire Rescue tells us the other man was experiencing numbness but was able to walk. He is currently in stable condition. Several people were at the beach when it happened. They say they saw several lightning strikes leading up to this one that hit the beach.
But then all of a sudden we heard at the same time, lightning and thunder, like, oh my God, that hit the beach. And then about 5 seconds later, we saw a lady running to the police car, which luckily was within 100 or 200 feet.
If you can hear the thunder sound, you don't want to be around. You have to leave immediately. The first rumble of thunder, you need to seek shelter. As we know, lightning can strike out very far in advance of an approaching storm cell.
Clearwater Fire Rescue issuing a warning to all beachgoers to know the weather forecast when you're headed to the beach and download an app that will alert you when there is lightning nearby. Now, this is a developing story. We will keep you posted on the condition of both of those men as we get an update. Reporting live from Clearwater Beach, McKenna King, ABC Action News.
Lightning strikes during last night's storm turned dangerous in Queens. 2 people were struck by lightning in South Ozone Park. Both are in the hospital. Their conditions are unknown at this time.
Lightning also struck a church steeple and sparked a fire in that same area. No one was hurt.
And this was the scene last night, lightning lighting up the sky, and witnesses say this video shows the moments the lightning hit, moments after lightning hit 4 people in Dutchtown. Tonight they're recovering from their injuries. Only News 4's Emma Hogue spoke with a family member of one of the victims who says he saw it all unfold.
It all happened just after 8 o'clock here at Marquette Park. I'm told a group had just finished playing soccer when those storms started rolling in. One man I talked to watched as that bolt of lightning threw his brother to the ground.
This feel good. The heart is a little bit
beating very slowly.
Yes, yeah.
Tonight, Aber Ordonez worries for his brother Noah, still in the hospital. He says the 28-year-old was sitting in a lawn chair Sunday night when he was struck by lightning.
Here. That's here, only here. This is not the shoes. Let's check it out.
Ordonez says that bolt of lightning hit the side of his brother's face so powerful it even knocked his shoes off.
It's a boom. Yes, and a good. That's my brother over here. This guy over here. Oh, no good.
Surveillance video shows a group huddled around the victims trying to help. The St. Louis City Fire Department says 4 people were taken to the hospital in serious condition. 1 was critically hurt. According to the National Weather Service, the odds of getting struck by lightning in your lifetime are 1 in over 15,000.
These dudes just got hit by lightning.
Severe lightning caused damage across St. Louis Sunday night. Downtown, Dan Robinson captured this photo of powerful lightning hitting the Gateway Arch. Across the street, News 4's BJC Sky camera also took a direct hit.
That's not good.
While Ordonez waits for updates on his brother, he says the pain of what happened last night still replays in his head.
Yeah, too much. Too much.
The National Weather Service says about 10% of people struck by lightning are killed. The remaining 90% suffer from varying degrees of disabilities. We are working to get an update on all 4 of those victims. Count on News 4 to bring you that info just as soon as we get it. Reporting in Dutchtown tonight, Emma Hogue, News 4.
And tonight, the St. Louis Fire Department is reminding you, if it roars, stay indoors. They want everyone to heed that warning the next time it storms to prevent another incident like that.
Well, there is some progress to report tonight in the recovery of a Fort Worth teen hit by lightning nearly 3 weeks ago while on vacation in Florida with his family. 14-year-old Jacob Brewer was well enough to be transferred out of Florida to Cook Children's Medical Center late last week. I talked with his mom about his progress and the heroes who helped him. It started like any other Florida family vacation. Jacob Brewer and his younger sister Ashley posing for pictures in Siesta Keys, south of Tampa. 14-year-old Jacob with sunglasses sitting in the sand. But then July 16th, the vacation took a terrible turn.
All of a sudden, as we were walking across the beach, the lightning hit my son.
That strike hit Jacob in the chest, exited his foot. Jacob's mom just inches away when it happened.
At first, I wasn't even sure what happened. All I know is I was on the ground. I couldn't hear. And just seeing my son laying on the sand with a giant hole in his shirt from the lightning. He started foaming at his mouth.
Seconds before Jacob was knocked to the sand, two strangers took this picture, dropped the phone, then ran to help.
And it started storming on us. Lightning everywhere. Sand was blowing everywhere. But they continued to do the CPR.
Jacob was initially treated in the Tampa area, but was taken in a medical plane to Cook Children's July 31st. This could have had a much different ending, but the family now filled with hope. Jacob is still paralyzed from the waist down, but there is encouraging news.
This morning, he moved his big left toe. That's the first time he's moved any part of that foot in 2 weeks. And then it was incredible, just amazing. In the out support of prayers and love that we're getting from the community, it's just amazing.
And just such a strong family. Jacob, a really strong young man, and his mom told me that dozens of people at their resort in Florida gathered after the lightning strike. They gathered to form a prayer group while Jacob was in the hospital there. So she has faith with continued prayers that he will keep getting better. Meantime, Jacob was supposed to start school this fall as a freshman at Timber Creek High School, but for now, he is still at Cook Children's. In fact, watching this broadcast right now.
For the Brewer family from Keller, it was their first vacation trip to Sarasota, Florida, and the white sands of Siesta Key. But while it's the Sunshine State, it's also the worst lightning state, where the odds are 1 in 3,000 that one of these bolts might find you.
We're holding up okay. It's been rough.
Because, as Barbara Brewer told me from her Florida hotel, last Thursday the odds were not in their favor. A sudden summer afternoon storm, they ran for cover, but not soon enough for her 14-year-old son, Jacob.
And my son was down on the ground, and he had a huge hole in his shirt. It was horrifying.
Horrifying because the lightning hit him in the chest, the electricity exiting his right foot, blowing a hole in his shoe. Then something else unexpected. The two strangers on the beach who rushed to help.
They just started doing CPR on him. And, regardless of the coronavirus or anything, they just started helping him. Oh, they're incredible.
Jacob had no pulse for 45 minutes. Now, a week later, he's still intubated, but awake and alert and recognizes his family.
We have the coronavirus everywhere. And this man, a complete stranger, started doing, mouth to mouth to bring him back. Every doctor that we talked to said that these two men saved our son's life. For my husband to carry his lifeless body across that beach, we thought he was gone. And we just kept praying.
Those prayers are also supported by a GoFundMe page. Jacob is still in a Tampa hospital. His recovery will be difficult.
You seem in really good spirits under the circumstances. Why is that?
The support that we're getting, like, every day. And also the fact that my son is here. I thought I lost him on the beach. He was gone.
And now alive thanks to the Florida strangers who brought him back. In Dallas, I'm Kevin Reese.
First, we lead off the 5:30 with breaking news, a report of a man being struck by lightning while out on the Hillsborough Bay this afternoon. And we just got this video here from the scene. Tampa Fire Rescue tells us crews responded to the Davis Island Yacht Club just before 4 o'clock this afternoon. We saw the FWC towing away a jet ski. It's still unclear, though, if that is actually what the man was on when all of this happened. And we're told the victim was taken to the hospital. And meanwhile, crews still trying to confirm if the man was in fact struck by lightning. But we have been tracking the storms all across our area today.
I am Ryan Bass. We've been seeing some storms moving through town this afternoon. Boaters say lightning hit a man on a jet ski in Tampa. 10 Tampa Bay's Angelina Salcido is live with us now at Davis Island Yacht Club. Angie, what can you tell us, especially if you've heard about his condition?
Ryan, we still have no update on this man's condition at this hour, but here's what I can tell you. 2 boaters that were actually here at the club during the time saw this all unfold, and it happened right in front of their eyes. I want to walk you through how this happened and where it happened. So we're at the yacht club. It's actually closed today. But these 2 gentlemen were actually underneath the yacht club as the storm was passing through into the Tampa Bay area. They were looking out onto the shore as the storms were coming through, and they noticed a jet skier that was actually very close to shore. A gentleman I spoke to tells me lightning came down, and it looked like it was a direct hit to the man on the jet ski. When they saw him slump over, that's when they went to go rescue him.
He was not initially responsive. He was in the water. He was wearing his life jacket. That probably saved his life. It was secured properly too. That helped a lot. And so we pulled him right in the boat, and my partner administered CPR.
Now, it took Ken about 3 or so minutes to get to that jet skier, but once they got him to shore, Tampa Fire Rescue got here a few minutes later and took him to Tampa General Hospital, where he is tonight. The yacht club is actually closed today, but members can come and take their boats out for the holiday if they choose to. Like I told you guys at the beginning of the hit, we still have no update on this gentleman's condition tonight, but the gentleman I spoke to really hopes that he is doing okay. This incident is a good reminder for everyone. When you do see a storm coming through, make sure that you take cover.
Yeah, you got to be careful, especially here in Florida. I mean, we are the lightning capital of the nation. We see quite a bit of these lightning strikes. In fact,
well, 2 men were struck and killed by lightning during Monday's violent storms. The men were part of a group of 4 who were working on a deer stand in Granville Township in Bradford County. That's near the New York border. Authorities say a fast-moving storm swept through a field where the men were working. They took shelter underneath a platform with a deer blind on top. Officials say lightning struck the stand and traveled down an aluminum ladder, killing 34-year-old Craig Kellerman of Philadelphia and 43-year-old Jason Gamba of Havertown. The 2 other men survived.
New today, a Pickerington man was one of 2 men struck by lightning on Clearwater Beach, Florida yesterday afternoon. 43-year-old Sav Kiamani was a few feet away from another man who was knocked unconscious when lightning struck as storms from the Gulf of Mexico moved onto the beach. Kiamani was able to walk and was taken to the hospital in stable condition. The other man, who is from Illinois, is in critical condition. Authorities say the 2 men were trying to get off the beach when the lightning struck, but the storm came on too quickly.
It's rare to get struck by lightning, but these people might not be so quick to call themselves lucky for beating the odds, although they are lucky to have survived their ordeals. People rushed to help a family after lightning struck the tree they were seeking shelter under.
What are these the faces of?
Christopher Lovera and his 2 young children were in Sequoia National Park when it started raining. He took this video of them taking cover just minutes before the tree they were sitting under got hit by lightning, knocking all of them unconscious.
So I woke to a pretty horrific scene of my son in a state of absolute fear and panic.
The whole family was treated for burns, but Christopher seemed to get it the worst. But he says they are all lucky to just be alive. A teenage soccer player in Russia was struck by lightning right in front of his teammates. A surveillance camera on the field caught the moment Ivan Zaborovsky was struck. The bolt sent dirt from the field flying into the air and Ivan to the ground. The coach administered first aid until Ivan could be taken to a hospital. Weeks later, Ivan was back on the field and showing off the scar he got from the incident. Another teen's brush with death by lightning was also caught on a surveillance camera in Arizona. 13-year-old Josiah Weidman was walking in a park with his friend when he was hit.
I felt like this burst of heat, pretty much, and everything went dark.
A witness saw what happened and performed CPR on Josiah. The teen was rushed to the hospital and put in a medically induced coma for 3 days. But doctors say he made a surprisingly quick recovery.
I can't exactly explain why he doesn't have any outside burns, but it is fairly consistent with the lightning strike. Fortunately, the amount of electricity passing through muscles and heart wasn't enough to cause what we think will be lasting damage.
This South Carolina man had a close call.
Boom. Heard a loud noise, I seen a bright flash.
Romulus McNeil was walking to his car outside of the school where he works when the lightning struck the ground near him, frightening him and causing him to drop his umbrella. Although he didn't seem to get directly hit, he says he did feel something.
Something did touch me. I don't know, I think an angel touched me for sure.
Surveillance video also caught this man getting knocked off his feet by a lightning strike. Alex Correo was out walking his dogs, who all took off running when he was hit. Luckily for him, a veterinarian saw what happened and performed CPR.
Without them people, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be here talking to you or anybody.
The strike even blew holes in Alex's shoes, but he recovered, and once he got home from the hospital, he was reunited with his dogs who were found nearby.
It was just the most powerful thing I'd ever seen or heard.
A Las Vegas woman tempted fate when she stepped outside her front door to get a video of a lightning storm. Aida Dominguez would soon learn her lesson.
I felt, instant heat. I actually felt a sting to the front of my shin. I thought I was hit.
Aida was okay, but won't be trying to capture another moment like that in the future.
I just got hit by lightning.
You just got hit by lightning?
Yes, ma'am.
A Florida man had to muster everything he could to call for help after he was struck by lightning while fishing.
I said, I'm not gonna die this way.
The bolt struck James Church's fishing pole and did a number on his body. He spent several days in the hospital and had to undergo multiple surgeries. He lost several fingers and part of his intestines, but James says he feels just lucky to have survived. And this man was struck by lightning while he was indoors. Nick Jamail took cover in his auto body shop during a thunderstorm. But when lightning struck the ground outside his shop, the bolt traveled underground and blew a light switch in his office. Nick says he didn't even realize he was shocked until his hands started to blister and he started having chills. It took a while for him to feel back to normal, but his story goes to show that being inside can't completely save you from lightning. For Inside Edition Digital, I'm Mara Montalbano.
The next time, because I've been hit with lightning, I had a stroke.
You got hit by lightning?
I got hit by lightning.
Sharon Stone reveals she was once struck by lightning. The Basic Instinct actress spoke on Brett Goldstein's Films to be Buried With podcast and shared the shocking story that she was hit by lightning in her family home.
You got hit by lightning?
I got hit by lightning.
What's that like?
Wow. It's really intense. I
can imagine. It sounds like it.
I was at home. We had our own well. I was filling the iron with water, and I had one hand on the faucet, one hand on the iron, and the well got hit with lightning, and the lightning came up through the water.
The force of lightning launched her across her kitchen.
And I got picked up and thrown across the kitchen, and I hit the refrigerator, and I was like, boom.
After slamming into their fridge, her mother helped bring her to.
And my mother was standing there, and my mother just belted me across the face.
What?
Brought me to.
Oh, I see.
It was like, I was in such an altered state, like, just so, I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah.
Just so bright, like, wow. And she threw me in the car and drove me to the hospital, and the EKG was just showing such electricity in my body. I had to go get EKGs like every single day for like 10 days.
Wow.
It was so crazy. Yeah, it was like in my heart.
Properly electric.
Sharon talked with Access Hollywood in February at Elton John's Oscar party and reminisced about another chance encounter from her past. Meeting Brad Pitt before they were both famous.
Well, I've actually known Brad a long time because Brad was in my acting class. Brad came as a limo driver bringing someone to our acting class, and my teacher, Roy London, tapped on the window and said, "What are you doing here? Do you want to be an actor?" And he said, "Yeah, but I can't afford it." And my teacher, Roy London, said, "This one's on me."
Oh my
So
God.
that's my favorite Brad Pitt moment. And I've known and appreciated Brad for a really long time, and he's a great guy.
An amazing story of survival on a Bay Area beach where lightning struck a Texas teen vacationing with his family. Good evening, I'm Keith Kate.
I'm Jennifer Lee. Thank you for joining us. Tonight, that teenager incredibly is recovering at Tampa General Hospital. 8 on your side's Chip Osowski joins us now live there with an update on how he's doing. Chip.
Well, he's currently listed in serious condition here at Tampa General Hospital, but his mom and dad tell me he's making amazing improvements every day.
As we started walking across the beach, there were several people still on the beach. Everybody was trying to get packed up.
Barbara Brewer and her husband Jeremiah described the day as an enjoyable one. They tell 8 on your side their kids, Ashley and Jacob, were enjoying some fun and sun on Siesta Key last Thursday, and then the storm rolled in.
I was walking ahead of Jacob, but I saw the flash of light. You know, I could smell the singed air around me and this instant, incredible crack.
The next thing you know, we were all on the ground, and I had ringing in my ear. I looked over, and my son Jacob had a huge hole in his shirt from where he got hit by lightning.
A Good Samaritan began CPR, and then a Sarasota deputy stepped in. Paramedics rushed Jacob to a hospital in Sarasota before he was transported to TGH.
There's a great danger here almost on a daily basis.
8 on your side, Chief Meteorologist Steve Jervey says summer storms can roll in quickly.
When you're hearing thunder, you should probably go inside. These storms move very fast, they develop very quickly, and the lightning danger is there imminently. So the idea is to try to get indoors, inside a car, inside a home as quickly as possible.
The Brewers know Jacob's recovery won't happen overnight. They're just happy he's alive.
To me, there's no doubt in my mind it's a miracle that he's alive, that he's been alive every morning now since, and he's breathing, and he's actually trying to communicate to us with hand gestures.
And Jacob's parents wanted to thank the first responders and that Good Samaritan that helped save their son's life. Meanwhile, there is a GoFundMe account set up for the family to help with their mounting medical and other expenses. You can find out more on that by logging on to WFLA.com or checking out the WFLA app. Reporting live in Tampa, I'm Chip Osowski, 8 on your side.
Unconscious on the ground beside a tree that's still burning. Paramedics worked to save the life of Christine Lawrence. The 71-year-old was left with critical injuries when lightning cruelly struck twice.
Massive hits, flash of light, thunder, and I'm just screaming.
The first hit a tree outside her home. Christine was trying to stop a fire when the second bolt struck. Her husband John pulled her clear, then started CPR.
We need rain, and yet it comes, and then it does this to one of our locals, so pretty tough.
She was flown to hospital, but this storm wasn't over.
We actually heard over the radio while we were being deployed to this job, another lightning strike that occurred in the Northern Beaches area.
At DY, surfer Josh Bush was struck on the shoulder as people were being ordered out of the water. The 29-year-old's mates dragged him out and lifeguards restarted his heart. The incidents happened only 10 minutes apart when powerful storm cells swept over the northwest, recording hundreds of lightning strikes.
Very rare that happens once, but to happen twice is pretty scary.
The two victims were taken here to the severe burns unit at Royal North Shore Hospital, and doctors say the only reason they made it this far was because those who were with them acted quickly and started CPR.
The sooner we start CPR, the sooner we can get circulation to the vital organs, especially the brain, the more chance the patient has of survival.
Tonight, lucky to be alive after the unluckiest of accidents. Andrew Denny, 7 News.
These storms is very real. Right now, 15 people are hurt. A dog is dead after they were hit by lightning. This all happened this morning on Mount Bierstadt in Clear Creek County. Right now, all the victims are on their way down. 7 News reporter Amanda Zitzman is live in Clear Creek County with more on the rescue efforts.
The last of the rescue crews are wrapping things up right now. Thankfully, all 15 hikers were able to make it down safely, but sadly, a dog did die when the lightning struck about 500 feet below the summit of Mount Bierstadt. Shasta Johnson was hiking nearby with her dog Axel when she heard about the lightning strike and came to help.
Just came over to kind of see the commotion, if there's anything we could do to help, assist, whatever was needed.
Hikers helping hikers, many of them coming to the aid of the 15 people that were struck around 11:30 a.m.
From what I've heard, it was just very, very boom, there it was. So it's kind of scary that it can just be that fast.
Despite the shock, all of them are expected to be okay, with 5 people taken to Denver area hospitals via ambulance, 2 with head injuries, one of them now mourning the loss of his dog, killed in the strike.
Some of these fine rescue people will probably go up and get the dog either probably tomorrow morning, early in the morning, that way they don't have to deal with the lightning.
Very happy there's little to no injuries, and so people-wise, everyone's good.
There were a total of 16 lightning strikes near Mount Bierstadt this morning. A handful of them were right there on the mountain. Reporting in Clear Creek County, Amanda Zitzman, 7 News.
To the index of other news tonight, the airport worker struck by lightning in Fort Myers, Florida. Surveillance showing the fast-moving storm as it moved in. 21-year-old Austin Dunn standing next to a plane when lightning hit the tail. Electricity passing through his body, knocking him to the ground. Dunn suffered burns on his hands, feet, and chest. He is expected to survive. We have new information about that close call at San Francisco's airport. The NTSB releasing its new report and a new image tonight. The Air Canada flight nearly landing on the taxiway instead of the runway. 4 passenger planes were on the ground, about 1,000 passengers in all in its path waiting to take off. The report revealing at its closest point, it was just 59 feet from the ground. That means it may have been just 3 feet higher than the nearest plane. And new developments in the HBO cyber attack, hackers stealing episodes from several programs and the script from next week's Game of Thrones. Variety reporting they also accessed thousands of internal documents, including employee names, emails, and job titles. HBO tonight saying they're trying to scrub those files from the internet.
The traffic signals.
When a mother-to-be was struck by lightning, doctors had to perform an emergency C-section, and the shocking effects of that night aren't over. KOAT Action 7 News reporter Laura Terrain finds out why her baby girl is having a hard time 1 year later.
Doctors, specialists, and her parents all call little Kimberly Gordon a medical marvel.
Everybody we've seen saying that it's a miracle that she's alive.
Last year on the 4th of July, Ian Gordon and Kendra Villanueva were trying to take cover during this thunderstorm when they were struck by a bolt of lightning while walking under this tree. Gordon says the electricity knocked them out. It traveled through his ear, jumped to Kendra's body, and left through her thumb. First responders rushed Kendra to the hospital where Kimberly was delivered by emergency C-section.
Those first 6 months were a little rough. She really had a lot of trouble sleeping.
Flash forward to today. Her parents say little Kimberly still has neurological damage from the trauma of the lightning strike. She can't sit up or crawl and has trouble digesting food.
It's just hard seeing that she can't, eat like she's supposed to, and she's not able to have food yet, only through the tube. Other than that, I'm just glad that she lived through it all.
Her situation is so unusual. Her parents say doctors have no way of knowing when Kimberly will walk and talk.
She's kind of just a play it by ear baby.
Dad has taken to calling his baby Flash Gordon, and in another possible side effect, Kimberly has hair that stands straight up. It kind of looks like static. Laura Terrain, KOAT Action 7 News.
He is so sweet. The Gordon family story has been heard all over the world, both on TV and in print. They tell us they're also speaking to a network about making a documentary out of their remarkable story.
New Mexicans are known for art.
If you saw this next story in a movie, you'd probably say it is way too far-fetched to be believable.
The saying, fact is stranger than fiction, truly applies here. It's a story about a lottery winner who has overcome outrageous odds more than once in his life.
CTV's Jonathan McInnes explains.
Check presentations are common at the Atlantic Lottery offices in Moncton.
And when co-workers and friends Pete McCarthy and Diana Miller showed up today to collect their $1 million win, it seemed normal until Pete's story started to come out. It seems he's beaten near impossible odds before, the first time when he was 14.
We were out on a boat trip, and when we got in, the water's pretty shallow, so we lock it in the lake just offshore, and I was trying to lock the boat up. It was a very sunny day. There was one big white cloud in the sky, and the lightning bolt come through the trees, hit me.
But the series of astonishing events doesn't end there. A couple of years ago, Pete's daughter was working as a wilderness guide in Manitoba when she too was struck by lightning in an eerily similar scenario.
They had pulled off the lake due to the storm, so she was locking all the canoes, making sure that they wouldn't get blown away, and she got hit by lightning while locking up the canoes.
So what are the odds of all these events happening to one person in their lifetime? Well, we brought that problem to a mathematics professor here at the University of Moncton.
By assuming that these events happen independently, so probability of lotto times another probability of lightning, since there are 2 people that got hit by lightning, and we get approximately 1 in 2.6 trillions.
Yes, trillions, with a T. McCarthy and Miller have been buying tickets together for almost a year. Shockingly, he never expected to beat the odds playing the lottery.
No, I honestly expected to get hit by lightning again first.
Diana Miller is planning a trip to Cancun with her share. McCarthy says after 30 years of marriage, it's time for him and his wife to take a second honeymoon. And oh yeah, Pete McCarthy also owns the store where he bought the ticket, so he gets an additional 1% awarded by Atlantic Lottery to the seller. That's another $10,000. What are the odds? Jonathan McGinnis, CTV News, Moncton.
It's a stark reminder caught on camera during a storm. Stay inside.
That's right, and this may be a little bit startling, but there's a 12-year-old playing in the rain, struck by lightning. Unbelievably, he is okay. Take a look. Holy cow, this happened in Argentina. His mother was taking video of him at the exact time lightning hit. As you can imagine, both mother and son learned a valuable lesson. He is blessed and lucky to have come out of it okay, though.
The Powell family surveillance camera capturing the moment they say changed their outlook on life. Tim Powell was struck by lightning as he unloaded groceries from his truck. His wife was also hit.
Even into the security of being in your home and being on your own property, and you're not out of danger.
You can see for yourself video showing Tim Powell unloading groceries from his truck. His wife was inside the car helping him, and his youngest son walking the porch nearby. Then a flash of lightning.
I don't remember anything else after that, because apparently it knocked me to the ground, or I fell to the ground.
Tim's wife hopped out of the car to help him, dragging him inside and calling 911. She did this despite being hit by lightning herself.
I refused the ambulance. I didn't care riding the ambulance, but they had strongly advised me to go to the emergency room to have the CAT scan.
Although Tim, his wife, and children are okay, he says he wants other families to realize that it only takes seconds for your whole life to change.
My children and my family are the main concern, and seeing the video on how close and how much worse it could have been, just a few seconds, if the lightning would have hit a few seconds later, it would have got my youngest son.
Reporting in Brunson, Destiny McKeever, CBS 19.
New at 6, a father and his 2 young children struck by lightning in Tulare County. Happened 2 weeks ago. Amazingly, they walked away. And now they're telling their stories of survival to KPIX 5's Maria Medina. We should tell you some of the images are graphic.
Faces of happy campers.
Chris Lavera recorded this video as he huddled under a tree during a storm with his kids, Aiden and Nadia. But for all 3 of them, their memory stops right there.
After that point, you know, it was each of us waking up to a different scene.
For Aiden and Nadia, it was waking up to see their dad unconscious.
I thought he was dead because I was screaming at him and I couldn't see him breathing. And he wasn't moving and I got really scared.
They'd all been struck by lightning but had survived. The bolt of electricity hit a tree nearby before hitting the tree they were under and then striking them, according to what one witness saw.
But what he does say is it looked like somebody, you know, blew us up. I mean, he saw bodies go into the air.
It was enough to paralyze Chris for a few hours, he says.
My shirt and my jacket,
leaving him with first and second degree burns as it wrapped around his body, down his back to his feet.
My swim trunks that I was wearing.
Their burns are healing. Aiden and his dad are still suffering from hearing loss. But Chris says he's grateful they made it out alive, even if they were flown out by a rescue helicopter on a backpacking trip to the Sequoia National Forest they'll be talking about for the rest of their lives.
Man, we picked a good day to come, a good weekend to come backpacking, didn't we?
In Pacific Grove, Maria Medina, KPIX 5.
Now, Chris suffered the worst of the injuries. He says he is grateful to the witnesses who quickly helped the family, including an off-duty firefighter.
A father and son out fishing are struck by lightning.
Only on 9, they are thanking a disabled vet and God for saving their lives. KMBC 9's Jim Flink has exclusive details. Jim?
Yeah, Larry, their fishing boat is full of holes, a rod and reel, shredded and charred as a result of that lightning strike. But tonight, a father and son have a miracle story they want to tell you about.
These are custom rods. This is what a rod's supposed to look like. And this is the rod that my son was holding after lightning hit it.
Gabe Neal has a story to tell about the lure of fishing, the dangers of lightning, and last Sunday night.
Lightning hit and I counted it at 4 seconds and I thought to myself, that's pretty close.
He and his 17-year-old son Christian had no idea how close till seconds later.
I know the only way I could probably describe it would be just somebody hit you in the chest with a sledgehammer.
It's just black.
And I was in the water backwards and it was immediate. I mean, it just boom and in the water.
I don't know, I just felt like somebody had just beat me and then lit me on fire.
Immediately realized my legs just would not work. They feel like they'd been just blown off, to be honest with you.
I was paralyzed from the waist down. I couldn't move my legs or my toes or anything.
I remember praying, just saying, you know, Lord, if I've done anything, just please forgive me. Excuse me.
When I came to, somebody was pouring water on me, and that was Andrew.
This is about where we were at right here when the lightning struck.
Disabled Iraqi war vet Andy Flippin was fishing just yards away with his girlfriend and father.
Just heard this loud crack.
Immediately, his Army combat training kicked in, first racing to Gabe.
As I got to him, he was going under the water and he was getting ready to drown. And then I went to Christian, who was still smoldering. And I got water dumped on him to put his hair out, and I could tell that he was the one that took the main hit from the lightning.
My heartbeat was so erratic that they said if they didn't do anything, it was going to kill me.
Paramedics arrived just in time.
It was just crazy.
Not very many people can tell that story.
Because as Andy Flippin knows, they usually don't survive.
God led us all into the right place at the right time.
Be ready to meet your maker. I mean, that's all I can say. I mean, when I was in the water and sinking, that's just the lowest feeling ever. I just knew that this is the way it's going to end.
Now tonight, both father and son want to thank the paramedics, the doctors at the hospital, and also their guardian angel, Andy. And here's the miracle part of this story. Not only are both expected to survive and do well, but neither are expected to have any long-term scarring as a result of this lightning strike. We're live tonight. Back to you in the studio.
Wow, Jim Flink, thank you very much. Gabe Neal makes fishing rods for a living. He believes the graphite rod served as a lightning rod in this case, but he says the lightning struck the rod first, which may have saved his son's life.
It was an enormous crack. He was not moving. Kind of bluish-like, mouth half open, not breathing.
New tonight, dangerous lightning strikes down a man on the golf course. The golfer's friend springing into action to save his life. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Wendy Ryan.
I'm Paul Legrone, and all new at 5. We're just finding out the man's name. ABC Action News reporter Lauren Rosella live at the Clearwater Country Club where that lightning struck. Lauren.
Clearwater police telling us that the victim in this is 76-year-old Frank Sink. They are now telling us that he had just stepped off his golf cart right over here at the 7th tee when the bolt struck.
Just that one boom, that was it.
A game of golf turning into a nightmare for a group of 3 men Friday. A man struck down by lightning just as the rain began.
It was an enormous crack.
Walter Statz heard a crack and turned around to see his friend on the ground, his Bluetooth headphones blown right out of his ears.
He was not moving, kind of bluish-like, mouth half open, not breathing. We need to help him.
Walter and another golfer in the group rushed to their friend, administering CPR and waiting for paramedics to arrive.
I'm going to get on giving him CPR. He doesn't look like he's breathing, well, I said, I'm going to call 911.
Golf course officials saying the man had a pulse when emergency workers took him away. Walter still shaken, seeing Florida's powerful lightning firsthand.
It could have happened to all of us, any of us, all 3 of us.
Grateful tonight he's still alive. And back out here live, we have some good news. We have just learned that Frank Sink has been upgraded to fair condition at Tampa General Hospital. Reporting live in Clearwater, Lauren Rosella, ABC Action News.
4 people have been hurt after they were struck by lightning at a golf course north of Toronto. One man had to be brought back to life by another golfer who happened to be an ICU nurse. The man is in hospital with several burns, including an exit wound at his right ankle. The group was warned to get off the course shortly before the bolt came down.
He was dead. Absolutely. He was vital signs absent. If nobody had performed CPR on him, if he didn't get early defibrillation or CPR, he would not be here today.
Tomo News presents Lightning Strikes.
Man survives getting struck by lightning. Ryan Cross, a family man from Nampa, Idaho, was struck by lightning last Sunday during a camping trip in Boise with friends. Cross's friends reported that they got caught in a storm during the trip. It began hailing heavily and the men scrambled to find shelter. Ryan took refuge under a tree and started using his cell phone, hoping to sit the storm out. A lightning bolt struck Cross directly and he fell unconscious. His clothes were ripped from his body. A horrible burn trail was scorched onto his skin. The bolt struck him in the head and exited through his back. Cross's friends rushed him to the St. Alphonsus Medical Center. Doctors found bleeding in his brain and feared that he could be paralyzed. His wife Heather stayed by his side until he regained consciousness. Ryan Cross is lucky. He is now recovering and is not paralyzed. Did you know that the odds of getting struck by lightning is 1 in 300,000 in any given year? Yeah, that might sound reassuring, but don't forget that there are more than 6 billion people on the planet. And the fact that more than 100 lightning bolts strike the Earth each second. People who spend more time outdoors are usually in greater risk of being struck by lightning. Hooray for introverts! Just don't go near conductive objects or take a shower during a thunderstorm. Stay safe wherever you are.
Peruvian soccer player survives getting struck by lightning. Watch this. And now a closer look. Who would have thought that this Peruvian soccer player, Joao Contreras, who had been reported dead by the media, is now safe and sound. The 21-year-old player for Team Sport Aguila was on the field during a Copa Peru semifinal match against Fuerza Minor last Tuesday. Contreras said a doctor later told him the lightning slashed through his face, going down his right side to his chest and stomach before exploding at his right ankle. Play was halted because several other players were also affected. Contreras woke up in the hospital and realized his jersey was torn up and both of his legs were numb. According to Contreras, quote, "At that moment I was dead. Did not feel my legs. It was something inexplicable. I had the fright of my life. Right now, I feel like I've been reborn."
Brazilian photographer Rogério Soares captures the tragic moment when a woman is killed by lightning during a trip to a popular seaside resort near Sao Paulo. Rosangela Biavatti, 36, and her family arrived at the beach while the sun was still shining. But at around 3 p.m., the weather quickly deteriorated as a storm gathered overhead. A cafe owner heard a loud bang and saw several people running towards the sea. Lightning struck Biabati as she was walking towards the sea trying to get her son and nephew out of the water. According to Biabati's husband, he was putting some bags into the pickup truck, and the next thing he knew, Biabati was lying on the floor. People tried to revive Biabati by administering CPR, but the efforts were in vain. In the end, the distraught husband had no choice but to carry Biabati's lifeless body from the beach.
Tree plus lightning bolt equals awesomely destructive fire. An Arkansas man captured footage of the wreckage of a tree after it was hit by lightning. Brent Hager of Springdale, Arkansas, noticed a flash of lightning nearby on June 12th. It wasn't until hours later that Hager's wife noticed smoke coming from the nearby pasture. Hager took his four-wheeler to check it out. That's when he found the burning tree. Hager later wrote that they knew the tree was already a lost cause, so they watched it burn until it finally split in half and fell. Lightning storms are common in the state and have been known to start fires. Last spring, lightning struck a church and set it ablaze. Firefighters were able to put out the flames, but were unable to save the church. During the same storm, 2 houses and an oil well were also struck and caught fire. If there's a lesson to be learned from this, it's don't mess with Mother Nature.
Lightning punches hole in nose of Denver-bound plane. Passengers aboard an Iceland Air flight experienced a shocking and unnerving jolt midway through the transatlantic flight. The Denver-bound Boeing 757 aircraft departed from Reykjavik's Keflavík's International Airport and was traveling through severe weather conditions. When early on during the flight, it was suddenly struck by lightning. Plane's pilots were aware of the strike but didn't quite realize the full extent of the damage after the plane had landed. One passenger aboard said the sudden jolt shook the aircraft, making everyone on board tense and anxious. Although aviation experts say the plane should have turned around, the plane continued the 7-hour trip and landed safely in Denver some 3,740 miles later. Despite a massive hole in the aircraft's nose, a spokesperson for Iceland said the plane's notification systems were unaffected. Aviation experts say that lightning strikes to commercial planes aren't as bad as they sound and happen 1 to 5 times per year.
Teens survive lightning strike because they were holding hands. Love is electrifying, in this case, quite literally. A California teen couple was out getting a burger last Thursday when they were struck by lightning, but amazingly, they survived. Dylan Corliss and Lexi Vargo were walking along the tree-lined streets of Claremont one day, hand in hand, not noticing an approaching thunderstorm, when lightning suddenly struck the 2 lovebirds directly, slamming them both to the ground. Does Mother Nature frown upon public display of affection? Terrified, Dylan and Lexi got up slowly, confused as to what had just happened, and were shocked when a passerby told them that they had just been hit by lightning. Later, their doctor told them that they survived the lightning strike because they were holding hands, thus diffusing the electrical current that ran through their bodies. Dylan and Lexi were unharmed, save for minor headaches and some muscle pain. Guess this was a spark in a relationship that they didn't ask for. Young love.
Lightning strike kills more than 300 reindeer in Norway. This is not a reindeer game. More than 300 wild reindeer were killed by lightning in southern Norway last week. It's believed the incident occurred last Friday afternoon when thunderstorms hit the Hardangervidda National Park. According to officials, all of the reindeer were found within a radius of just 50 meters. Because of the way the reindeer were positioned, officials think the reindeer were all killed in a single lightning strike. In all, 332 reindeer were killed in the freak accident. Looks like Santa may need to find some other mode of transportation this winter. Either that or Rudolph is going to have to pull extra hard this Christmas.
Lightning strike on California beach kills 1 and injures 8 others. At least 8 people were injured and 1 person was killed when lightning struck at Venice Beach, California on Sunday. The Los Angeles Fire Department said a rare series of thunderstorms had rolled through the area. When negative electrons in clouds repel electrons on the ground, the surface of the planet becomes positively charged. In a storm, ionized air molecules then discharge the electrical field back to Earth to neutralize the charge difference. This is lightning. A lightning strike can course through a person in just 3 milliseconds, generating 300 kilovolts of electricity. Third-degree burns are caused at lightning entry and exit points in a person's body. The surrounding air is heated to 50,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The extreme heat can also shred a person's clothing. A lightning strike can cause brain damage, burst blood vessels, cause pulmonary edema, and upset the heart's electrical rhythm. Various ways a person can be struck by lightning include direct strike, when lightning hits the person directly, side flash when lightning hits something close by and jumps to a person, contact potential when a person is touching an object struck by lightning, stepped voltage when lightning dispersed through the ground enters and exits the body, and surge voltage when lightning strikes the power source of an electrical appliance a person is using. The National Weather Service yesterday uploaded a post to Twitter warning of cloud-to-ground lightning in the Los Angeles area. Witnesses also posted online that they saw huge bolts of lightning strike the area, with one person describing an explosion that blew off nearby roof tiles.
Man blown out of boots by lightning strike survives. Doctors say getting struck by lightning is a 1 in 700,000 chance, and very few would survive. Have you ever thought about your chances of surviving if this ever happened to you? It was a sunny Saturday afternoon in Noonan, south of Atlanta, when Sean O'Connor was raking leaves in his backyard. He didn't notice the sudden change in weather, and by the time he realized, it was too late. He was struck by lightning so forcefully that he tasted blood in his mouth and his leg hairs burned. Meanwhile, his boots, one of which was smoking, were across the driveway. Turns out the lightning strike blew Sean straight out of his boots and zapped his heart so badly that it caused irregular heartbeats. He called his wife and filmed his bleeding tongue and smoking boots to prove what had happened. His wife later rushed him to the hospital, where he was treated for an irregular heartbeat and kept for observation overnight.
Denver man hit by lightning while filming storm. Arvada man Chad Greenlees is one lucky person. The Denver dad is counting his lucky stars after a lightning bolt literally struck too close to home. Greenlees was at his house on the 8,400 block of West 78th Circle during a severe storm on Monday, when he thought he would go outside to get a closer look. He went into what he thought was the safety of his garage and began filming with his cell phone when, BAM! This happened. A lightning bolt struck the ground right next to him. Click on the link in the description to see the actual footage. Greenlees says that he only lived to tell the tale because the bolt didn't actually hit him. Hearing the almighty noise, Greenlees' 13-year-old daughter, Ilea, rushed into the garage where she found her unconscious dad convulsing on the floor. She called 911, who told her not to touch her dad for fear that he may still be carrying a charge. Greenlees woke up a while later in his hallway, surrounded by paramedics. Luckily, he has just a few bruises and a bump on his head to show for his close encounter with Mother Nature. But he added that he has learned his lesson, vowing to watch any future storms from a much safer location.
It's more fun when you have to talk.
Yeah, because people can come in.
Wait for it.
Do we have internet yet?
Yeah, we do. Yeah. I got that.
$6 grand out this man.
A system that predicts storms based on lightning strikes was put to the test in Guinea on October 22nd. 12 detectors deployed throughout Guinea send storm forecasts to meteorological services in the country. Lighting detectors mounted on mobile phone towers can detect in-cloud and cloud-to-ground flashes. Storm intensity is then predicted based on the frequency of lightning strikes in a given area. The lightning detection system is cheaper than radar-based weather services, making it ideal for poor countries.
It was sunny. It was just an afternoon shower that come through. There weren't any dark clouds. I hadn't heard any thunder.
Sean O'Connor was finishing his yard work, cleaning up leaves.
It started to sprinkle just a little bit, so I come up front to check the burn barrel and see if the leaves were still burning. While I was walking into the front yard, I picked up this rake right here, and the moment that I picked up the rake, I heard a loud crash. I had been thrown over here to the other side of the driveway. When I woke up, I had blood in my mouth, I had a headache, my ears were ringing, and I could smell burnt hair.
Across the driveway, the boots he'd been blown out of, one of them still smoldering.
This is where the doctors believe the lightning bolt actually entered my body.
My leg hairs are all singed up.
He took this video to convince his wife over the phone what had happened. She rushed home and took him straight to the hospital.
I walk in the emergency room and I explained that I'd just been struck by lightning. Nobody there believed me either. Normal heartbeats between 70 and 80 beats per minute. Mine was dropping down to 40 beats per minute.
Now feeling pretty much back to normal, Sean is already cracking jokes.
Yeah, everybody's been asking me if I have superpowers now. Unfortunately, I don't. My older sister actually came by and she had brought me a Flash Gordon shirt with a lightning bolt on the front of it.
That's the only lightning bolt he ever wants to see again.
I think next time I get ready to come out and do yard work, I'm definitely going to take a closer look at the weather forecast.
We're going to turn now to the man who survived a lightning strike. He was out walking his dogs when a bolt suddenly struck. His dogs ran for their lives. Luckily, some good Samaritans ran to save him. As you can see, the whole episode was caught on camera. Will Reeve has the story. Good morning, Will.
Good morning, George. There's never a good place to get struck by lightning, but Alex Correas was right outside a veterinary hospital with his German Shepherds when one of those Texas-sized thunderstorms came out of nowhere. Correas said he saw it coming, but it was already too late. Now he's speaking to GMA about that terrifying moment.
This morning, the man struck by lightning in this heart-stopping video is speaking out. 27-year-old Alex Correas captured on a veterinary hospital security camera. This flash, the lightning bolt striking him. He falls stiff, his terrified dog sprinting away.
The doctors were just in shock that I made it, and the way I got hit, the way it traveled through my body, they did say I'm lucky to be alive.
Correas lying still on the pavement, not breathing, his clothes charred. Good Samaritans rushing in to help. Luckily, he was right outside a vet's office.
His shoes and his socks got blown off his feet. I start running through the hospital because someone was like, we need help with CPR.
Rushed to the hospital in a neck brace, Correas spent nearly 4 days in the hospital with burns and a bruised left eye, but a resilient spirit.
Once I finally realized that I was in the helicopter and he told me I was struck by lightning, I started, getting scared and trying to figure out what happened and what the condition was for me and if I was going to make it.
And a grateful perspective.
Thanks to those people, they're the reason why I'm still here. Because if not, I probably wouldn't be here to tell the story.
When he finally got home, nobody was happier to see Alex Correas than his 3 German Shepherds. Bystanders to near tragedy, excited to get back to their daily walks with their owner.
Once we got home and I reunited with my dogs, it's like one of the best feelings in the world to see a dog how loyal and how they can miss you.
The family has set up a GoFundMe page to help with medical and other costs. As of this morning, they're nearly 2/3 of the way to their goal. The page has pictures of those German Shepherds. Very cute. Correa's sister writing that an update, the dogs were taken care of by that veterinary hospital where the lightning struck, and one even got a free microchip.
Little bonus.
Hey, there you go. Bonus.
Silver lining.
Yes, exactly. All right, well, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.
One man is in critical condition and 7 others were hurt when that bolt came down near Frenchie's Rockaway Grill just before 1 o'clock this afternoon. 10 News reporter Bo Zimmer spoke with some people who saw the horrifying strike.
And we was like packing everything else to go, and it just started thundering.
Witnesses describing a fast-moving thunderstorm that moved over Clearwater Beach just after noon Sunday. While some rushed to safety, Ryan Tuttle says the beach was still packed with people.
The minute I saw the lightning strike, I'm like, I bet you people got hit by lightning.
A total of 8 patients were treated for lightning-related injuries, including a man in his 40s who appeared to take a direct hit.
The one gentleman, his whole shirt was burnt. There was actually a hole in his shirt where the lightning struck, so there was no clothing there at all.
He just instantly just fell. Then the girls that was with him, they fell too, but they came back up and they tried to get up and they tried to walk, but they fell back down like their legs, they couldn't walk.
Kanaja Everson and Kwamari Shelton are visiting from Ohio and say they too felt the effects.
You could feel the lightning strike through the ground on the whole beach. Like, you could feel it. Like, I was holding the tent on this metal pole, and like I felt it through my arm.
No doubt Sunday's lightning strike will have a long-lasting impact on everyone who watched what happened.
I was scared. Honestly, I was crying. Yeah, because we never seen nothing like that. And this is our first trip here to the beach.
Man, I just hope he's okay. His girlfriend was very traumatized.
And that lightning struck the beach directly behind Frenchie's Rockaway Grill. The restaurant closed early tonight, but is expected to reopen tomorrow morning.
Gina, good evening. Among that crowd, the life flight crew from Memorial Hermann here, those lifesavers, the heroes who performed CPR, a blink of an eye action that helped to save his life. Also tonight, we're getting the first listen to that 911 call that really gives us a look into the moments that Alex Correa's life was saved.
I'm here. Yes, I am.
A little more than a week ago, 27-year-old Alex Correa laid lifeless on his face in the middle of the Stubner Airline Animal Hospital parking lot. The video is riveting. Alex is walking back to his car with his dogs. A lightning strike hits him at his feet. Alex goes down. Today he sits before this crowd. Among the dozens are the ones he calls his heroes.
I really did feel like it was in a dream, though.
And for them to see Alex here today,
it just overwhelms you emotionally, you know, to know that you had a part in that.
Bill Wilson, a vet tech at Stubner Airline Animal Hospital, was just about to head home on that rainy Thursday night, moments after the lightning hit. But Corey Hart had already spotted Alex, so he looks to Bill.
I was flagging him down, trying to wave him down and point to the guy out in the parking lot.
And I zoomed up there, jumped out, and we were trying to see if he was responsive at all.
He checked him for a pulse, and it's like, yeah, he doesn't have a pulse. He's not breathing. We got to start CPR.
In the 911 call, you hear them at work.
That was hard to listen to.
It's still surreal for these guys hearing the moments Alex started to breathe again.
Got a person breathing out of gun, and the fire department just got here.
Immediately, it was just relief.
First responders arrived as Alex was gaining strength back.
Well, first thing he said was, I'm not going anywhere without my dogs. I said, okay, well, the lightning burned your shirt off. We cut your pants off. You can't really go outside right now because you got no clothes.
Even after Alex was told he was struck by lightning,
I still couldn't believe it. I was just like, oh, yeah, okay, good joke, but, you know. And then he said, am I dreaming?
Hard to believe he survived.
I see that CPR is the reason why I'm here. It's like, I want to learn just in case if it ever happens to me where I can save somebody else's life.
His message to anyone who may be underestimating this skill tonight.
Hey, guys, CPR is something serious. It doesn't hurt to learn it, just because you never know anything could happen.
I'm Svania Coley, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
We have new and dramatic information about the moment 2 local teenagers were struck by lightning.
Yeah, these two were just walking through a park in El Mirage last night when they were suddenly hit by that bolt of lightning.
ABC 15's Justin Pizzera, the only reporter talking with a neighbor who heard that crack of lightning and then rushed in to help. And Justin, this was intense.
It really was intense. First off, Stephanie, the storm itself was intense. You can see some of the damage done in this park right here. There's several uprooted trees just within a few feet of each other. This storm also had a lot of lightning. One of those bolts of lightning hit those 2 teenagers. I talked with one man who ran through this park barefoot in the rain to try to save them.
The only sign left today that anything happened in this park last night, a few uprooted trees, large branches blocking a few sidewalks. But Corey Szynski can tell you a much different story.
They were laying like right over here.
So they were just laying right in here?
He heard the loud crack of thunder and looked out his door. The lightning struck 2 teens.
And we thought they were fooling around, so we yelled, "Do you guys need help?" And the 2 girls that were with them started yelling that they needed help.
Not thinking twice, Corey ran through the field, barefoot, in the rain to try and help.
One of the kids said he couldn't feel his legs and he was awake and conscious and all that. The other kid was unconscious and there was stuff coming out of his mouth. So I just started doing CPR.
Corey learned CPR in the Army, but this was the first time he ever used it.
I just had to keep him alive. I was afraid that it wasn't going to be enough.
Corey performed CPR until an ambulance arrived and took over. Today, there's no marking in the field, no debris from where the lightning hit. Just a vivid memory for Corey, who's thankful he was close.
feel like it was right place, right time, I think. I've never had to do anything like that before.
So tonight, one of those teens is still in the hospital. He's actually in ICU, but I just talked to El Mirage police, and they said that this teen is making a miraculous recovery. We also got new information on the other teenager. He does have second degree burns on his hip and on his foot, Stephanie. But the good news, he is also expected to be okay.
And it's unbelievable that Corey was nearby and knew CPR and was able to help. It really is truly a miracle that they're going to be okay. Justin, thank you. Now,
Jason Carter, a second person in just 2 days is struck by lightning on the Gulf Coast. And tonight, we talk with the most recent victim. News 5's Nicolette Schleisman is live in West Mobile, where she talked with a man who survived a lightning strike. Hey, Nicolette.
Yeah, hey, Jason, and that man who was struck by lightning is doing okay, but he is shaken up. He was standing just right here inside his garage, watching the rain roll in when he heard a deafening noise, and everything went black.
And I was standing right here.
Ronald Collins was standing just under his garage door, watching the rain in West Mobile.
There was no thunder, there was no lightning. All of a sudden, one came out of the sky and it hit here, and then sparks flew, and then next thing I know, it just shifted my body. I was looking out of the garage, but when it hit, it automatically turned me this way, and I was looking inside the garage.
Mobile Fire says Collins was hit by lightning and rushed to the hospital. He spent about 3 hours there before talking to News 5.
It warmed my toes up.
He was still wearing his hospital socks.
It was bad. It scared the hell out of me.
The crash of the thunder was so loud it could be heard several blocks away.
There was just one loud, you know, like a large explosion.
It was so loud, it sounded like a cannon going off on a battleship.
Collins' brother, George Smith, was in the next room doing laundry. He heard the commotion and immediately went to check on his brother.
I snatched the door open and just seen him going down, and I got to him just in time to cup his head before it hit the cement.
Collins didn't get a direct hit by the lightning, but he felt the electricity.
That's where it hit, right there. Though it didn't hit me, it was strong enough, and it literally, it's a powerful thing. Yeah, that thing is powerful. It's nothing to play with, and it was under a second, that quick.
Exactly where it hit.
And it is starting to storm again out here. It is raining a little bit, and Collins told me earlier that he plans on staying indoors whenever he sees it start to storm again, and he's hoping other people take his advice and stay indoors during the storms as well. Reporting live in West Mobile, Nicolette Schleisman, WKRG News 5.
Earlier today, a man was struck by lightning at Clearwater Beach near Frenchie's Rockaway Grill.
A total of 8 people are injured. Now, we do have team coverage tonight for you. Storm teammate Ian Oliver is tracking that line of storms here in the Bay Area for us.
But first, let's go to 8 on your side's Marco Villarreal. He is live at Clearwater Beach with the very latest. Marco, bring us up to speed.
Good evening, Melanie, Rod. Well, it looks like we might be gearing up for round 2 today. Check out the dark clouds that are moving in over us. Not too long ago, it was nothing but sunshine out here, but that's how quickly these storms move. And I'm told that that area where the lightning hit is right here. One man directly hit, and then it spread to several people around him. Let's give you a look at what happened earlier today. Around 12:45, that's when dark clouds and rain moved right over Clearwater Beach. Clearwater Fire Department responded immediately after getting the call that one man was directly hit by lightning. 7 others affected as they stood near this volleyball court just outside of Frenchie's Rockaway Grill. First responders are praising the quick action from customers and others nearby who started giving CPR to those who needed it, and for dragging them into the restaurant as rain continued to pour down on top of them. One witness told me people were grabbing their things and moving off the beach when all of this happened.
Oh, it's like an explosion. It looked like it sounded like a bomb would go off. Like they say, if you know, like a literal bomb went off when it hit. But it hit right here.
The people in the restaurant seen it, and the girl had passed out, and then another girl started having seizures, and like it was chaos in there. Like.
Post-chaos, 4 people taken to Morton Plant Hospital, including the man hit by lightning who went into cardiac arrest. We're told one other person was sent to Tampa General with burns. And meanwhile, this evening, Frenchie's has shut down. We're going to continue to follow this story, but again, we're also going to seek safety because those clouds are starting to come over us. Reporting live on Clearwater Beach, Marco Villarreal, 8 on your side.
We walked around here, you can see where it's already dying, right around the steps.
It was a day just like this.
Beautiful out, yeah.
When Chad Hollingsworth and his neighbor Stephen Foster were doing yard work.
Started spraying around this house here. I got about 3/4 of the way around it, and bam, I got hit.
Just a bright glow like a fireworks, and a lot of sound like fireworks.
It was like a bomb going off right in front of you. Right here.
Hollingsworth was knocked out for a few seconds.
Then my eyes opened, but I was just laying there and arms were just dangling in front of my eyes as I was laying there, and I thought it was somebody else laying on top of me because I felt like I wasn't there. I was somewhere else looking at it.
The out-of-body experience was over as soon as the burning became stronger than the initial shock.
Felt like I was just on fire on the inside.
Hollingsworth was airlifted to the hospital and kept overnight for monitoring.
They said it come in my arm here and run through my back and hit the other side of my arm.
Doctors,
a little sore,
didn't find anything wrong.
It's unreal. I don't know why. I mean, you know, I didn't think I was gonna make it.
If you had seen him when he was here on the ground, you would not have believed that he would have been up and home the next day.
There's no explanation other than the guardian angel that seems to be tattooed on my back.
Close call. This South Carolina man walking in the rain when a lightning bolt struck just feet from him. You can see the bolt hit the ground, causing the man to jump back. He threw his umbrella down, then quickly picked it back up and ran off. He says he felt the shock, but is just thankful not to have any major injuries. This though, what a close
He's so
Look at that.
close.
Oh my God.
Wow, that's crazy. That had to be crazy.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown. Click the ABC7 logo to subscribe to our Eyewitness News YouTube channel.
Whoever says lightning doesn't strike twice in the same place hasn't met this lucky Texas rodeo clown.
Casey Wagner was taking part in an event called Rednecks with Paychecks, where drivers go off-roading. But then a storm rolled in, so Wagner ducked under a tree for cover. Bad idea.
What I remember is just loud boom, and it dropped me to my knees. And then right when I was going to my knees, it hit me again. And when I got hit, it was just two big old flashes, and then sparks went everywhere. This is by far the closest to death I've ever been.
A nurse nearby kept 31-year-old Wagner calm until he was taken to a hospital a few miles away to be treated.
Luckily, a nurse nearby helped him into an ambulance when that arrived. Wagner says he initially lost some feeling, but is now said to be doing okay, and I don't think lightning will ever hit that guy again.
Remarkably, Wagner didn't suffer any major injuries. Doctors expect him to be back to normal later this week. For Newsy, I'm Jamal Andrews.
A motorcycle rider killed after he was hit by lightning, according to troopers, while on I-95 in Volusia County. A witness says that the bolt hit that rider in the head, then the rider fell off his bike. We first broke this story at clickorlando.com for you. Troopers just sent us a picture of the man's helmet. You can see it is badly damaged, although we can't tell if the damage was caused by that bolt or by the roadway when the rider was ejected, troopers say. News 6's Jerry Askin is in Ormond Beach following the latest on this.
Just a tragic story happening on I-95 today. A man killed in a bad crash, and troopers say that crash was caused by lightning. The crash happened here on I-95 near mile marker 271 near Ormond Beach in Volusia County. Traffic today was diverted to US 1 as the crash scene was being cleaned up. And here's some video from the DOT camera. You can see lots of backup and emergency vehicles on scene. It also shows the motorcycle the man was riding on. Troopers saying the man was struck by lightning on his helmet as he was riding south on I-95, and that's where he overturned and crashed. Investigators say an off-duty trooper on vacation here from Virginia was riding by and saw the crash. Troopers haven't yet released the man's name who was in the crash. They're still working to notify his family about this tragedy. And today's heavy winds and storms caused lots of crashes here all across Central Florida today. In fact, we even saw a car in the ditch as we were driving by today on I-95. Just a big reminder for us all to be careful, take it easy, and slow down. In Volusia County, I'm Jerry Askin, getting results, News 6.
Fox News alert, multiple people struck by lightning at a PGA Tour championship. This is in East Lake, the golf club. This is just outside of Atlanta, Georgia. It looks like multiple people may have been injured. Several ambulances there, right there at the scene. It's unclear how severe the injuries could potentially be. We will keep you updated as we learn more about what happened there.
Every year, 300 Americans are struck by lightning. They kill an average of 58 people each year. But if you think you have to be outside to be hit, think again. Here's the story of a Texas mom who was struck by lightning while standing in her kitchen. Her 9-year-old son frantically calls 911 to save her life. June 11th, big storms roll into Dallas. Then for one family, disaster strikes.
Kaufman County 911.
Hi, my mom and my sister. They just got hit.
Okay, calm down for me. Your mom and your sister what?
They got stuck.
They got what?
Came through the ceiling.
Okay.
Lightning came through the ceiling.
Frantic 9-year-old Tristan Coxwell grabs his mom's cell phone, calls 911 and pleads for help. The scene he describes for police is almost too hard to believe. His mother, Kimberly, has been struck by lightning inside their home.
Stay calm and tell me what happened.
Lightning came through one of the lights and it struck my mom and my baby sister.
Is your mom talking to you?
No, but she's breathing.
Tristan says his mom was standing in the kitchen holding a pan when a bolt of lightning came through a light fixture above her, struck her chest, and exited her foot. First to arrive at the scene, Deputy Brooke Haar.
She was mumbling and not very coherent, and was not able to attend to the children at the time.
Joining us live, as you can see, in an exclusive interview from Forney, Texas, Kimberly Crone, her hero son Tristan, that's her husband Chris, holding their adorable baby girl Serenity. Good morning to you all. And we should say, Kimberly, to let everybody know, you were not holding Serenity when you were hit by lightning, right? You were not.
I was not. No, ma'am. I just put her onto the living room floor.
Oh, thank goodness for that. You had to spend 3 days in the hospital. But how do you do? How are you feeling, Kimberly?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm feeling a lot better than I did that day. My left side is still a little bit weaker, but I am doing great.
And that's where you were standing, basically, when you were struck. Can you kind of show us what happened?
Yes, ma'am. I had just told the kids to go into the bedroom and get a toy, and I was picking up their bowls and putting them on the counter, and I had this pan in the sink. And when I moved it to about right here, lightning came from the ceiling above, hit the pan, which reflected that lightning off into my chest.
And and exited through your foot. Tristan, my man, your mom tells you was able to get out to you to call 911. No, to call your grandmother, but you called 911. How'd you know to do that?
When I was little, she got me a little play phone and stuff, and I played with it. She taught me how to call 911, and somehow I do not remember it, but in this equation, I just remembered to call 911 in emergency.
Well, you were reminded of the right equation, young man. That was great. Want to play a little bit more of the 911 call, because Kimberly, you said, Tristan can't remember much of it, and you can't either. Let's take a listen to a little bit more.
Who else is there?
My 4 little brothers and then my little sister.
Okay, is anything still on fire?
Sit down.
Tristan?
Yeah?
Is anything on fire?
No, but there's a burning smell.
There was also a 6-year-old in the house. There was a 3-year-old in the house at the time. Kimberly, when you hear Tristan, how calm he was, does that surprise you at all?
I was amazed at how calm he was in that situation. The fact that he called 911, he's always been a very witty kid. He is extremely smart, so he knew it was an emergency. But how calm he stayed, I was extremely, extremely surprised.
And what's his nickname?
I call him Riley. That's his middle name.
We also heard Papa Smurf. Papa Smurf sometimes the family calls him. Why?
Yes.
Why is that?
Yes, I do call him Papa Smurf because he always tries to act like the daddy, or, you know, sometimes he even acts like his mama, or, you know, just trying to take care of the children and help any way he can. And we'll sit there and we'll tell him, I have it, Tristan, I have it, it's okay. But he will not take no for an answer. He wants to be in charge.
Well, he was in charge. He was large and in charge that day. Tristan, way to go.
That is right.
Way to go, Tristan. Good job there. Thank you so much. And it's great to see Serenity. I love that name for a baby, Serenity, and your husband, Chris.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thanks so much.
I just remember trying to wake up, and everything's real quiet. And I was numb, I couldn't feel my body. I could see a little bit of light, but I knew I wasn't breathing. There's no pain, had no feeling, no pain or anything at all. But I knew I didn't have any oxygen in my system.
Doug doesn't realize that both he and Susan have been hit by lightning.
My body hit the ground, and I kind of bounced, and it was going through me. It was hot, and it was searing, just scalding, and my body was humming, vibrating. It was like I was underwater at a swimming pool, looking out, and everything was distorted. It was like I was in an energy field, just surrounded, trapped to the ground. Surprisingly enough, I didn't think I was going to die.
Susan is lying on a bed of hail.
And I thought it was odd. I couldn't feel how cold it was. And that's when I realized I was paralyzed. From my shoulders up, I could move my head, but the rest of my body absolutely could not function. And I had no idea that it had hit him too.
I couldn't feel anything. I thought maybe I was dreaming. When you're in a semi-state when you're almost awake, but you're still dreaming. I just knew I needed air, but I was still numb, and my legs were paralyzed. My arms were paralyzed. I couldn't feel my chest, and I couldn't even swallow at that point. I finally got a breath. A few minutes later, I was able to move my neck, and then I could see her.
Doug is still partially paralyzed.
She was looking at me, and she was yelling at me, and I was saying, I couldn't hear you. I said, what? She goes, I told you we shouldn't have stood by that tree.
He was just tatters, just his clothing was just shreds. His poncho, there was nothing left really but just the neckline. His t-shirt had a hole in it around his belt buckle area. And his hat was just blown up. It was just shredded. I didn't want to leave him because I didn't know what was wrong with him. But I also knew that we needed desperately to get to somebody, because then I knew I was really cold.
Like a bolt from the blue, help arrives.
We were just coming out of the woods into the clearing, and we barely saw her.
Gary and Marcia Muncie are caught in the same storm.
Doug was down, and there was a problem. He was disoriented, and you could see him. He was all burned up on the front of his t-shirt.
We took his pulse, and it was kind of erratic. And
The back of his head, he didn't have any hair left where it burned some hair off his head, and he was in trouble.
Okay, it can happen to any of us. In fact, it happened to me in Wilmington, North Carolina several years ago. I was obviously fortunate enough to survive, but one Seneca man has been struck by lightning not once, but 6 times.
You were actually struck by lightning.
I was.
As News 4's Kim Quintero shows us, new at 6, the man in Seneca is using his story of survival as a teaching moment for all of us.
Dressed in a gown, Melvin Roberts takes his first few steps inside a Coney Memorial Hospital since his fateful encounter with Mother Nature.
My feet are burning. I slightly got a headache, but...
Not bad for a man who was struck by lightning just 2 days prior.
It was pretty sunny and nice, but there were black
clouds in the background.
Robert's wife Martha says Monday afternoon she ran to the store. Robert stayed home.
And that blame radio started going off, something about storm coming up.
Robert says he went outside to cover his lawnmower.
That's the last thing I remember. I woke up here.
Dazed and confused, Roberts called his wife.
And he says, "You're not going to believe this, but I think I was hit by lightning again." And I said, "You think?" I said, "I'll be right home." And he says, no, I'm fine, I'm fine.
She raced him to the emergency room. Ironically, a familiar stop for Roberts.
This isn't the first time you've been hit by lightning.
No, she said it's my sixth.
Why do you keep getting hit by lightning?
Lucky. I don't have no idea. Huh?
The first time caused nerve damage to his left leg, and he spent more than a year in a wheelchair. His next encounter?
On the porch, smoking. And I need a light, so.
And another time.
I went to cover my chickens up, and I believe it was clear. But I woke up all muddy and bloody and burnt, confused. A couple of little old chickens laying there, all laying on little feet up.
Robert's take on why he's been struck so often?
I've been married 5 times, and I've been hit by lightning 5 times. But she says this is the 6th time, so I'm gonna have to. I'm not leaving my wife, so I'm gonna have to try to do something different.
With a sense of humor, Roberts uses the painful blisters and the long-term health effects as a lesson that hopefully he'll follow.
I ain't saying be afraid of it, but I'm gonna have to learn how to give it a little respect. But it can happen to anybody.
Kim Quintero, WYFF News 4.
And now to that dramatic day at the beach for one father and his son. They were both struck by lightning while they were kite surfing in Florida. Beachgoers rushed to the rescue, and this morning we are hearing the frantic 911 calls for help for the first time. ABC's Matt Gutman has the story.
A guy just got hit by lightning.
For a terrifying moment, 14-year-old Kai Welson thought he'd lost his father.
There was a big white flash. I dropped my kite, and then I looked over, and then I saw him laying on the ground.
Suddenly, bystanders began sprinting to 39-year-old Falk Welson's rescue.
His eyes were open, and he was foaming from his mouth. And then I didn't look at him anymore because I was really scared.
Is he breathing? He's turning purple.
The father and son pair had been kite surfing near St. Augustine, Florida, when lightning struck out of the blue. Falk hit by up to 1 billion volts, enough to light up a small town. And though he'd also been hit, stinging from pain, Kai sprang into action.
I was like, "Dad," and then wake up and everything, and then these people started running to him.
Anybody know CPR?
Tell them they need to do at least 100 compressions per minute.
An ambulance arrived just minutes later, but Falk was in critical condition.
They're putting IVs in him and taking his blood and seeing his heart rate.
Those 1 billion volts burned his skin, 2nd-degree burns, but after a night in the ICU, Falk survived.
I'm feeling very thankful. I know I could have been dead.
And to celebrate, the duo intends going right back out there to kite surf. For Good Morning America, Matt Gutman, ABC News, Miami.
We begin, though, with separate bolts of lightning striking a teen and a house within just minutes of each other. It happened during yesterday's fast and furious storms that swept through the area. As you can see, the home on Lyman Avenue destroyed. And right now, the teen who was struck on Salem Avenue is in the hospital. Eyewitness News reporter Walt Buteau is live in North Providence with our top local story.
And that strike happened just a short distance from where we are right now. The teen in the treehouse is identified as 19-year-old Matt Leathers. He has burns on his body. He's recovering at Rhode Island Hospital right now in fair condition. Pieces of the treehouse ladder were propelled 30 feet from the strike into the victim's neighbor's yard.
It was raining really hard, and then we heard a really loud crack.
Her 19-year-old neighbor was getting down from the treehouse when the lightning hit that wooden ladder.
He was knocked unconscious. He had for a couple minutes, and then he woke up, and he had burns all over his stomach. My stepdad went over to see him and said that his clothes had melted into his skin, so he had burns all over his hip.
Her mother called 911. He was taken to the hospital a short time later and again listed in fair condition at this hour. We'll have more tonight on Eyewitness News.
Now we're live at the mobile newsroom in North Providence. Walt Buteau, Eyewitness News.
I just wanted to get like a cool lightning strike over the ocean, and I got something a little closer to me than I wanted.
Clearly, this is more than what Ethan Riazzi Bodine wanted, as he hoped to simply shoot a picturesque bolt of lightning over the ocean.
You can actually hear me get electrocuted in the video. I'm like, ah!
A little laughable now, but not at the time. The 16-year-old lifeguard had to take shelter during his bike ride home when storms passed through after 6 p.m. Monday evening, and a broken chain on his bicycle left him stranded at a bathroom pavilion on the Bradley Beach boardwalk.
Now it's over, I can say it was cool, but during the whole process of what happened, that was not cool at all.
There were actually 2 bolts of lightning. The first one already way too close, and Ethan wanted to get out of there fast. But before he could leave, another one, about 5 to 10 feet away.
It's basically like the whole ground just vibrated, and it went up through my feet, up to my body, up to my chest, and out my arms.
This is where Ethan took cover to shoot that video during the rainstorm. And as powerful as that lightning strike seemed to be, it didn't even seem to leave a mark on the sidewalk.
When I saw the video, that's when I realized that, okay, we need to get him to the ER.
Bodine walked away from the ER and pretty much the whole thing without a scratch or burn.
They said if I wasn't holding onto my bike, I wouldn't be here right now, because my bike kind of grounded me because of the rubber tires and the rubber grips. So if I wasn't holding my bike, I probably wouldn't be here right now talking to you.
In Bradley Beach, Darla Miles, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us. We begin with our big story. 2 teenagers struck by lightning caught in our latest round of monsoon storms.
Police say the 13-year-olds were playing at Moreno Park in El Mirage when a bolt of lightning came crashing down last night. Good evening, I'm Joe Dana. Mark is off.
One of the boys is speaking exclusively with Team 12's Antonia Mejia. She is live outside Phoenix Children's Hospital with what he's saying. Antonia?
Caribe, I'll start by telling you that both boys are expected to recover out here at Phoenix Children's Hospital, and one of them tells me he's just happy to be alive.
I couldn't move. I couldn't feel my arms. I couldn't feel anything.
13-year-old Javier Tapia now being treated for burns after being struck by lightning last night. He and his friend Josiah had been skateboarding at a park in El Mirage. This security camera footage from near the park appears to capture the moment the two were struck by the bolt.
I looked to the right and I saw the sun in the air. And I got to the ground before him, and when I saw him, he landed on his head.
I thought that my son was almost dead.
Krista and William Weidman are Josiah's parents.
The skateboard triggered the electricity to hit, which caused it to bounce off the skateboard and caused my son to fly, drop him on his head, and then flip him again.
They're just grateful their son is alive.
He's breathing, so he's a miracle.
For him to walk away at the end, we know it's going to be great. It's a miracle. He's a big miracle, big miracle.
They tell us he's recovering, but still unconscious and undergoing tests.
And I thank God that he sees us, he hears us, and he still performs miracles today. But we need help because he's going to be here for a while, and it's going to be very expensive for medical bills.
Yeah, and Josiah is in a medically induced coma. His family has created a GoFundMe page to help with his medical expenses, and we'll have that information on our webpage at 12news.com. We're live in Phoenix. Antonia Mejia, 12 News.
All right, Antonia, thank you.
I feel, why did this happen to me?
Brendan Darby doesn't remember much, but he does know he was struck by lightning.
It's just the chances are so low of getting hit, and with these things that are so uncommon, you don't think it'll ever happen to you, but it can.
The teen from New Jersey was jogging along the track behind his town school when it started to thunder.
I just remember waking up, a lot of confusion, adrenaline, grabbed my keys, wallet, phone, ran for help.
This neighbor helped call 911.
He's like, Mr. and I'm like, hey, are you okay? He's like, I think I got struck by lightning.
The bleachers, sprinkler system, and open fields made the 19-year-old an open target for the lightning strike, first responders said.
Right as it happened, I thought I should be dead right now.
Brendan's still recovering, and it's something he'll never forget the next time he heads out the door for a run on the field. This is InsideEdition.com.
My name is Melvin Roberts. I've been hit 12 times. I can't hit the lottery, so I got to get this lightning, you know. The first time, I stepped off with a dozer, and when my feet hit the ground, lightning hit me. Second time, I was at my sister's house. Third time, I was at my uncle's. It feels a real burning, like you're on fire. Lightning, when it goes into the bone, and it cooks you from inside out.
His vision and his memory are the main issues.
I can't remember a lot, you know. And I can't remember when my kids were little. I didn't feel bad, you know. I just like to know what the heck is my body doing, you know. After 12 times, it's like a joke between me and the Lord. If I said, the Lord trying to tell you something, I said, won't you write me, email me?
What started as a routine stop for gas ended in a near-death experience for William Hall yesterday.
Started pumping the gas and I seen a very bright orange light followed by a very bright white light and then total darkness. I went out.
Surveillance cameras at the K&K Food Mart captured this amazing video of a lightning bolt hitting the parking lot. A few minutes after Hall paid, you see the flash outside. Another camera caught Hall falling over after the bolt struck.
It was fortunate that it was not a direct strike. It struck the parking lot and traveled through Mr. Hall while he was at the gas pumps.
Hall was unconscious for about 5 minutes. He says he felt the current travel through him before he passed out.
Because I was very numb, shaky, hard to catch my breath. My heart was beating really rapid.
Apart from some small blisters on his elbow, Hall doesn't have any physical signs of his close encounter.
Actually, I feel pretty good. Every muscle in my body is really sore. I have a slight headache, but other than that, I feel great. I feel very lucky.
He went back to the gas station today to finish filling up.
But I mean, that's pretty remarkable to see him here today. And I'm glad he's here with us to tell the story too.
6 o'clock. You know, if the odds of being struck by lightning are pretty slim, imagine the odds of being struck in a moving vehicle. That's what happened to a St. Pete woman. Sheena Easterday. Now, thankfully she wasn't hurt, but it fried her car. And Fox 13's Steve Nichols shows us tonight Sheena is not even the first in her own family to absorb a bolt.
Sheena Easterday saved up for years for the down payment on a late model used car. Bought it in April, might have lost it in a flash.
The whole car lit up. It was like a white, bright white, blinding light. The whole car just kind of lit up, and that hit me in the side.
It happened Monday evening in the center lane of I-4 as Sheena drove through this storm in Polk City.
It makes me not want to drive in the rain ever again. And I was already scared to drive in the rain.
All at once, bright light, sharp pain, quite dead car, frantic call to 911.
I can't breathe. I can't get out of my car.
Okay, do you know what the closest mile marker is?
I can't get out. I can't.
And I kept pulling this and hitting the locks, but I couldn't, it wouldn't work. And the car was really smoky from the airbags, I guess, but I thought it was on fire.
I was doing 45 and all of a sudden my airbags just went off. I can't, I don't know if my car died with my racing. I don't know what happened.
Now she can see the damages, including several small burn holes in the trunk area.
And then it bent that up, and it just kind of, the glass didn't even fully come out. It just kind of like went around.
Now the big worry is whether the car will be totaled.
To change all the sensors and stuff in there, it would be just astronomical. Them things are expensive.
That's Sheena's dad, who years ago was holding onto a lanai that was hit by lightning. His brother had to knock him loose with a shovel. Is that the same brother who got hit also?
Yeah, he got here a couple years later.
runs in the family, I guess.
So how many Easter days are there left to be hit by lightning?
2.
The much earlier strokes of lightning were quite painful, but yesterday's?
No, I didn't feel anything. The airbags hurt, though, that's for sure.
But not enough to turn the Easter days away from the bolts. In St. Petersburg, Steve Nichols, Fox 13 News.
Sheena's thankful that her 2 kids, ages 8 and 10 years old, were not with her on that drive, and they normally are. They normally sit in the back seat, much closer to where that lightning struck.
It just seemed otherworldly. Some of the most vivid lightning displays I have ever seen. One report of 1,200 lightning strikes in 5 minutes.
I remember thinking how beautiful it was, but at the same time, it looked like trouble to me.
There was a pain in the sink, and right then, that's when the lightning came through and struck me.
I thought, this is crazy, this is not going on.
It came through the ceiling. Okay. The lightning came through the ceiling.
It's a burning sensation. It's the strongest pain.
Well, I never thought anybody could be struck by lightning in their own home. That never once crossed my mind.
They got on the radio and they said, hey, this woman was struck by lightning, possibly holding her child.
We both kind of just looked at each other like, oh, this could be really bad.
Never think that you're safe in your own home.
From the Weather Channel, this is Storm Stories with meteorologist Jim Cantori.
When you think about dangerous weather, tornadoes and hurricanes are probably what come to mind. But lightning is actually Mother Nature's most lethal weapon.
It'll heat the air up to as high as 50,000 degrees.
That's 5 times the temperature of the surface of the sun. And it strikes the U.S. an astounding 25 million times a year. Some years, it kills more people than hurricanes and tornadoes combined. Certain states are more prone to lightning strikes because of frequently unsettled weather. Florida is one, Texas is another. Odds of a strike here are high by sheer virtue of its size.
Texas averages about 3 million cloud-to-ground flashes in a typical year.
In June 2009, 29-year-old Kimberly Crone is struck by one of those flashes, not outside on a golf course, but standing inside her own kitchen.
Never think that you're safe in your own home. I never expected that. I never expected, never thought of anything like that happening.
Well, I never thought anybody could be struck by lightning in their own home. That never once crossed my mind. It makes me a little bit more worried now.
It's mid-June in northern Texas. Peak storm season is normally winding down by this time, but 2009 is proving to be an exception.
Good evening. We begin tonight with what has been a terrifying night for some North Texans.
A storm system settles into the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
There was extensive wind damage and one report of 1,200 lightning strikes in 5 minutes. On the 10th, we had a squall line develop out to the west of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It came roaring across with 70 and 80 mile-per-hour wind gusts.
Destructive winds are just the start.
Later that night, the severity of the storms diminished somewhat, but they kept developing and forming. So one after another, these storms came along, just like the old freight train.
The storm brings chaos to the region.
We had 7, 8, almost 9 inches of rain in less than 24 hours. Widespread wind damage and power outages. Hail, high water rescues going on.
Open my eyes, I see my shoes floating across the floor.
Parts of Dallas County receive about 2.5 months of rain in just one night. By the morning of June 11th, the atmosphere is truly electric.
Accompanying those continuous rainstorms was some of the most vivid lightning displays I have ever seen. The clouds were lit up, strokes from cloud to ground almost continuously. Just seemed otherworldly.
That lightning, it just did not let up. The only way to describe the weather would be like a strobe light.
22-year-old paramedic Jessica Norman first encounters this light show on her way to work.
I remember thinking how beautiful it was, but at the same time, it looked like trouble to me. I knew it was going to be trouble for somebody.
Severe weather puts the area's first responders on heightened alert.
The whole day was pretty much related to the weather.
Flooded roads, trees in the roadway, accidents. I was a little concerned about getting out of my car. Lightning was striking that bad. It was crazy. It was a crazy day.
29-year-old Kimberly Crone is less concerned about lightning this morning than getting breakfast on the table. The suburban Dallas mom has 3 sons, 2 stepsons, and a baby daughter, all younger than 10. The Crones live in a new subdivision in Forney, Texas, a farm town turned Dallas suburb. The neighborhood is so new, their house sits in the middle of an open field, the perfect place for her boys to play sports. 9-year-old Tristan often leads his little brothers in the games.
Play football, go jump on a trampoline with them, play tetherball.
But this morning, there won't be football until the rain lets up.
Not going anywhere, it's storming outside. Stay in your PJs,
Above the Crone house, ice particles within the storm clouds are colliding into each other, building up a static charge, which generates electricity.
In the case of lightning, the cloud and the ground are of opposite charges. If that electric potential becomes too great, then you get a discharge, a giant spark of electricity, and that's what we call lightning.
That spark, known as a step leader, is rushing down at 200,000 miles an hour. As the negative current travels to Earth, the ground's positive charge hurtles upward to meet it. When it does, a lightning flash appears. Back on the ground, the boys finish their cereal and leave the kitchen to play. Kimberly cleans up dishes at the sink. At her feet, baby Serenity, the newest addition to the Crone family, and Kimberly's only daughter. Suddenly, the morning calm is shattered by a crack, the sound of 100 million volts of electricity discharging overhead.
When we talk about lightning, it doesn't seek out targets. Lightning tends to strike the tallest object in the immediate area. In this case, it would have been Kimberly's house. That house was just in the wrong spot for that particular lightning flash.
And now, not even those inside the house are safe.
Lightning tends to follow the conductor, and that would include the plumbing. It would include anything that plugs into the wall. If that house is struck, the lightning is going to find a way to the ground.
Oh, that was pretty.
The lightning's current circulates through the home's wiring. It first discharges at the thermostat.
It was a loud boom sound. I saw it strike the thermostat. It just came down like this bright light.
We heard the loud bang. And that's when Tristan came running to tell me, oh my gosh, Mom, did you see that?
Before she can answer, Kimberly herself is a victim of the lightning.
There was a pan in the sink, and I just moved it from my left hand to my right hand, and right then, that's when the lightning came through and struck me. My hair didn't, raise up, nothing like that. It's just, it hit, and then you just immediately feel it's a burning sensation.
The burning Kimberly feels is electricity heating up her body. The more resistance the current encounters as it travels, the more heat is produced.
I don't know if you've ever been shocked or anything by plugging in something. Way worse, but you couldn't let go. It was just literally, you're burning, and you could smell it. It didn't feel like it was ever gonna stop.
9-year-old Tristan witnesses the strike and knows his mother needs medical attention.
I thought, this is crazy, this is not going on. I thought it was a dream.
Kimberly crumples to the floor, fighting to stay conscious. She gets 2 words of instruction out to her son. Call Mamaw, their grandma.
I just remember, I'm about to pass out, call Mamaw. Didn't even think to call 911.
Lucky for her, Tristan does.
It was an emergency, so I knew I needed to call 911. I grabbed the phone out of her pocket.
Kaufman County 911. He came through the ceiling. Okay. Lightning came through the ceiling.
When I heard the little boy, heard Tristan on the phone, and you could tell he was very upset. He was so rattled and scared by the situation.
I'm kind of nervous here.
Kaufman County 911.
It came through the ceiling.
Okay.
The lightning came through the ceiling.
29-year-old Kimberly Crone is struck by lightning while standing inside her suburban Dallas home. The lightning's current travels along Kimberly's pre-existing electrical network, the nervous system, before exiting her tailbone. 9-year-old Tristan, Kimberly's oldest son, is on the phone with 911. He suspects the lightning that struck his mother also hit his 9-month-old sister, Serenity. The baby is just a few feet from Kimberly, and she won't stop crying.
My mom and my sister, they just got hit.
Okay, calm down for me. Your mom and your sister what?
They got stuck.
Tristan's call is answered by Kaufman County dispatcher Corporal Charlotte Marinin.
When he first called, you know, all I could understand was it sounded like he said somebody had been hit. Well, to us, that could be any number of things, you know, a parent fighting or somebody at the house fighting or, you know, different things.
They got what?
It came through the ceiling. Lightning came through the ceiling.
Stay calm and tell me what happened.
Mama's going down. She's laying on the floor and closing her eyes, but she's still breathing.
Okay, what's your address? Do you know your address?
Tristan is calling from a cell phone, and that makes his location hard to trace.
Well, when somebody calls in from a cell phone, it does not tell you where they are. It gives you an approximate radius of where they are, and it hits off the tower and gives us a tower address.
During a storm, cell phone towers are also at risk of being struck by lightning. Marinin must work fast to get Tristan's address. If she loses the call, she can't send help. But in a panic, Tristan is having trouble remembering his street.
You live on Coneflower?
No, it's where you go up. I don't know the street, but I don't know what's wrong with my phone.
Do you have a home phone?
No.
Can you look and see if you can find a piece of mail that has an address on it?
It's Foxglove, 2100.
You live at 2100 Foxglove?
Uh-huh.
The address is sent to EMT Erica Brent and paramedic Jessica Norman.
We had just backed in from coming back from like several car wrecks back to back to back, but they got on the radio and they said, hey, you know, this woman was struck by lightning, possibly holding her child.
We both kind of just looked at each other like, oh, this could be really bad.
Figuring out Kimberly's address costs precious minutes. The ambulance needs to move at top speed, but heavy rain and standing water make that nearly impossible.
You can't drive into this stuff if you aren't certain of the circumstances, because places you do not expect to be dangerous can be very quickly.
Flooding isn't the only danger. Lightning continues streaking to the ground at random.
It was striking ground and striking objects, and you can hear it crack once it hit the ground.
Unbelievably, that telltale crack rings out in the Crone house for a third time.
And I heard another boom sound.
Ooh, God.
What's wrong?
That is again.
What happened?
It came through the light again.
Are y'all in the room where that's happened?
Yes. Happened in the kitchen. We're in the living room right by the kitchen, but there's nowhere else to go.
Despite the stress, Tristan has regained his composure and takes command of his 4 little brothers, ages 3 to 6.
You know, my kids are scared to death, you know, and I could hear the screams. Wake up, please don't die.
You're doing great. We're getting your mom and your baby some help, okay? How's the baby? Do you know?
He's 9 months old. My mom's 29.
Your mom's 29 and the baby's 9 months?
Yeah.
Are you there by yourself with just your mom and the baby?
No, I'm here with all my 5 brothers.
You have 5 brothers there too? Okay. How old are you?
I'm 9.
You're 9?
He like steps up and takes, you know, control of the whole situation like he was the parent in the house.
The fire department is patched into the 911 call, but the fireman's questions don't deter Tristan from keeping his brothers in line, seated on the couch.
I'm just walking around. I'm kind of nervous here.
Is your mom inside?
Yeah, she's inside.
Hey, Tristan. Is anything on fire?
Sit down.
But they were just scared. They were just scared, and they listened.
12 minutes after Tristan calls 911, Deputy Haar arrives on the scene.
It went by really slow.
Tristan, are you still on the phone?
Yeah, I'm still on the phone.
Okay. Tristan, listen to me. There's a police officer. Her name is Brooke, okay? She's going to be coming there in just a minute. She's almost there, okay?
There's somebody coming.
Okay.
As I was pulling onto the street, fire department was right in front of me. Tristan had the front door open and ready for us to walk in and assist.
The police are there with you, Tristan? Okay. All right, we're going to let you go since the help is there for you, okay?
Bye.
Okay, bye, Tristan. You did good.
Jessica Norman and Erica Brent pull up moments later. While Jessica attends to Kimberly, Erica makes a beeline for baby Serenity. She's relieved to see the babies crying.
We're trained that a crying baby's, pretty much a good baby, okay baby. It's when they don't cry that is really the time that you need to really get in gear.
Serenity appears to be okay, but her mother's not. Lightning damages nerve endings as it passes through the nervous system. Most of Kimberly's body is numb.
I was in and out of consciousness and couldn't feel anything. I came to, and all I hear is, that's a lot of kids.
Jessica's primary concern is Kimberly's heart.
In a physiological sense, your heart relies on electricity to pump and circulate blood, so any introduction of electricity or outside electricity to the body could interfere with that.
Kimberly is fighting consciousness. Once again, Tristan steps in to assist.
Everything I would want to ask her, I'd ask him. I'd ask him, where was she standing and what happened, and, did she pass out? And, I think I was asking him even her medical history.
Kimberly is carried outside to the ambulance. A responder will stay with the boys until Kimberly's mom arrives. As a precaution, baby Serenity will go to the hospital too. Thanks to Tristan, Kimberly is rushed to the hospital less than an hour from being hit. But her ordeal is far from over. Fighting for her life after the lightning strike, her fate is now threatened by sudden flooding.
My pager started going off, and it was just listing all these places that were flooded, and we had to start thinking about what other hospitals we could get to.
The roads were completely flooded, so they couldn't get there.
It's a stormy June morning, and Kimberly Crone is rushed to the hospital after being struck by lightning inside her own home. What's worse, flash flooding washes out major Dallas roadways.
And this is where we're looking at some of that heavier rain over into southern Dallas County as well as into Kaufman County.
Now the ambulance can't get to the hospital.
My pager started going off, and it was just listing all these places that were flooded.
I want to talk about flash flood watches for Kaufman, Dallas, and over into Tarrant County, all underneath a flash flood warning.
The flash floods cripple the metro area. At Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport, hundreds of flights are canceled. 29 roads are submerged. The standing water outside Baylor Medical Center is so high, patients are temporarily diverted to other hospitals. From the driver's seat, EMT Erica Brent reroutes the ambulance, carrying Kimberly to an alternate ER.
That was the right decision, because if we tried to go on, we would have had to turn around or been stuck.
In the back, paramedic Jessica Norman monitors Kimberly's heart and tries to keep her talking.
She was saying a few words at a time. She was answering appropriately, but I could tell she just really didn't want to talk to me. She just wanted to sleep. She wanted to lay down and rest and make the pain go away, I think.
But the devoted mother's mind is still on her kids.
I remember asking about how, my kids, because I didn't know if anybody had called my family. And if Serenity was going to go to the hospital, I was going to make sure that I'm there with her. I might not be awake, but you're not taking off with my baby.
I was holding her and saying, look, she's fine. She's happy. She's not even crying. Here she is.
30 minutes later, mother and daughter make it to the hospital. Doctors confirm Serenity is uninjured, but Kimberly is not. The lightning strike gives her seizures, and she will not be released for 3 more days. In fact, for the next 3 months, she'll experience hot flashes, tremors, and episodes of intense sweating. The strike leaves her left side weakened, sometimes even numb. The probability of being struck by lightning is about 500,000 to 1 in a given year. Kimberly Crone may be on the wrong side of those odds, but thankfully, luck is on hers.
Kimberly was actually very fortunate that she didn't receive a larger jolt of electricity. She's very fortunate to be alive.
July 11th, 2009. 1 month after Kimberly Crone is struck by lightning inside her suburban Dallas home. Her 9-year-old son Tristan receives a 911 Hero Award for helping his mom get the medical attention she needed.
Not the easiest thing, seeing your mother in pain, and you don't like to see that at all. You like to see her happy and joyful.
Police and Fire Department and 911, we acknowledge Tristan Coxwell for his heroic actions during an emergency situation on June 11, 2009.
What do you think about these cool awards they gave you?
I think they're great.
I'm extremely proud of Tristan. Extremely proud of Tristan. He's my little hero.
For the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Jim Cantori. Your local forecast is next.